My name is Cybele, and my topic is autonomous cars. So let's define what an autonomous car is. According to Volvo Cars company, an autonomous or self-driving car is a car that can accelerate, brake, or steer itself. Recently, many companies such as Google, Uber are investing in autonomous car technology, promising to bring improvements in the traffic. Currently, the legislation has not yet authorized the traffic of autonomous cars because it's still insecurity about this new technology. Only testing cars, semi-autonomous ones, are on the roads. But because recent problems and accidents with testing cars, this technology is showing us to be dangerous and bringing doubts of its safety to people. So here I'm going to show you that autonomous cars are dangerous. And my first claim is that autonomous cars will have to interact with known technological objects. As any other driver, autonomous cars will have to interact with cyclists, motorcyclists, animals, changing the roads, changing the weather, and any other surprise that appears on the road. And even for us, many of these surprises are like we can predict. According to Mary Louise, a Duke University robotics expert, said that cars are not equipped to handle bad weather conditions, such as drizzling rain, sudden downpours, and snow. These limitations will be especially problematic when coupled with the inability of self-driving cars to follow a traffic policeman's gesture. Not being able to react to all the situations that appears on traffic put the passengers at risk. And also, drivers sometimes get in situations when they have to choose what to do to cause less causalities. Whether or not drivers are going to choose others' lives instead of theirs depends on the situation that will appear. In this case, self-driving cars would have to be prepared to make moral and ethical decisions. Cars don't have the ability to think as humans. They cannot choose. They will be pre-programmed to that. Would you buy a machine that might kill you to save more people? And so the big question is, who to protect, passengers or the people? So the inability to be aware of the surroundings and incapability to make moral decisions puts these passengers and others at risk. Passengers can either die because the system failed to detect the car or because the system will be trying to save others' lives. So this leads to the second claim, which is that safety of autonomous cars depends on universal use. Many argue that when all cars are autonomous, we'll be safer. But is that possible? According to Los Angeles Times, nowadays there are 250 million cars on US roads. And according to the Washington Post, right now the technology alone adds 70,000 to 100,000 the cost of a vehicle. So not everyone can afford, and there are a lot of cars to change. So in our present reality, self-driving cars would have to coexist with non-autonomous cars, and their ability to interact, as said, is not reliable. And according to Raj Kumar, a professor in the robotics department at Carnegie Mellon University, the technology to validate software systems this complex does not exist today. If we were to switch completely to automated vehicles everywhere, that would be a thing. But it's another when they have to coexist with many vehicles of varying capabilities. So this leads us to my third claim. Computers in autonomous cars are open to technical problems. According to Mary, one of the technical problems is that they are vulnerable to outside sources. According to Mary Louise Cummings, another major problem with self-driving cars is their vulnerability to malevolent or even prankster intents. She added, self-driving car, cyber physical security issues are real and will have to be addressed before any widespread deployment of this technology. She said that it's relatively easy for a hacker to get into a driving system, GPS, and veer off course. And according to The Guardian, a publication in March this year, already one hacker claims to have taken control of some system on board a passenger plane he was on, getting as far as issuing a client command that he accessed to the entertainment system. Another pair of hackers caused the Jeep to crash in July 2015 by accessing some of the car's software through another poorly protected entertainment system. At DEFCON hacking conference, as far as back 2011, hackers were asking if they could write a virus to pass car to car, to be transmitted car to car. So, as our home computers are vulnerable to outside sources, the autonomous car computer will also be exposed to outside sources, and it could be a risk to its passengers. Another issue, technical issues that they can fail. In May this year, there were a crash with the Tesla Motors cars, and according to CNN Money, Joshua Brown died when his autopilot system did not recognize a tractor trailer running in front of his Model S, and his car plowed into it. So even if there's a system that can be aware of the surroundings, the system might fail in dangerous moments, and you might not be able to respond on time. Okay, so just to end, from all that I have explained, I show you that autonomous cars are dangerous. Their system will be exposed to outside sources and susceptible to bugs and errors. Also, if their safety on roads depends on the change of all cars to driverless ones, a show is difficult. It's a difficult process and not many can afford. For less, their system cannot prevent many situations nor interact with non-technological objects present on daily life. All of these issues present a general problem for passengers in self-driving cars.
Yeah, thank you. Although this is like, you've given me 3 copies of this. That's a lot of stuff here. That's okay. All right, well, proposition is very sharp. There's no preview of what the contents are going to be, so that's a little bit problematic. I think you give us a little bit of context concerning why this might be a future issue, talking about Google and Uber trying to develop this and what the miles are that they're already using for experimentation, and that there are some laws that are in place that maybe create some barriers. So we know why we have to have a discussion on this, and I appreciate that. In the body of the speech, though, your supporting points are structured. You do have distinct supporting points, and you label those points pretty clearly as you're going through the presentation, so that is good. And I think for the most part, you explain the assumptions on each of those points pretty effectively as well. The evidence that you provide, you've got a couple of examples that illustrate the point that you're talking about. The statistical information that you have is primarily about the number of cars and what the cost would be. I think there's probably some other projections that you could make about how long it would take to have that universal availability of autonomous cars. There may be some other comparisons that you could make that would make your argument a little bit stronger there. But what you had was a good start. I did think that you had some very good testimony evidence on this point. You had 2 or 3 quotes from authorities who have talked about these issues, computer experts, people who have background in automobiles, for instance. I thought you did a good job in identifying the people that you were quoting there and citing them pretty well. The presentation is fine. The generalizations, like I said, I think you've done a good job for the most part. There may be other issues that are going to come up, but I don't know how complete you can be in the amount of time that you've got. And like I said, it's generally solid. You had a good summary at the end. Thank you.